The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Cali Sportsman, WDC is now on your radio. Coming live from the Bay, yeah, that way. They talk sports all day, LA. Dropping knowledge, high school, college, trying to score, play by play. NFL, NBA, NHL, that's right, you name it. They gon' bring it to you live. Talking sports and entertainment. From the famous and the, you name it. Cover all sports from the football field.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Collective TV. I'm your host and moderator. I'm Farhan, aka WDC. I want to thank you for listening today. As always, we have a very spectacular, important show for you right here on Morris Media Live. Mondays at 5 o'clock Pacific time. Make sure you go to our social media at Sports Collective Media, Instagram and Facebook. If you've been checking the social media, you know that we have the Chasing the Hoop Dream segment, but also this segment is brought to you by the African American Coalition, and we're going to be discussing some mental health topics, which is very important in our community, as you know. Again, this is also brought to you by Ask Ilya. For your ideation, make sure you go check out Ask Ilya on Instagram. And for more information about sickle cell trait, I'll be sharing that later. WDC Radio on Instagram. All right, so I don't do this by myself. As you can see, there's people here with me, so I'm going to let everybody introduce themselves, and then we'll get started.
Beautiful. My name is Delilah Outlaw. I am a model, and I'm a motivational speaker for women. You can find me on Instagram. We'll talk about that later.
Oh, like that. Shoot it to me. Okay.
Bounce pass.
I'm Cali Sportsman, like the bounce pass, and I go in and make the layup. You know what I'm saying? But, we do a lot of interesting things here. And we, Miss Outlaw is a really phenomenal personality. And we going to see about her being one of our on-air personalities here on a more frequent basis. So if you like her, go to her handles. And if you like what we're doing on here on the show, give us a call, 323-293-3375. But it's all about African Coalition, and what they're doing in the community. And Miss Outlaw, you're going to take over the interview, but I'm going to pass the ball to the right, and you can go ahead and introduce yourself because you are a part of African Coalition, right?
Yes, I am one of the advocates for the mental health project that we're working on, and my name is Marwa Osman. And, I'm happy to be here with you guys to be talking about this because it is very much needed in our community.
Yes, thank you so much for coming, love.
Thank you.
Ultimately, we can just dive right on into it. I actually want to know what the African American Coalition is about. What is this coalition about?
So African Coalition is about really just kind of connecting the brown and black communities back to kind of the roots. It's like just really providing a service where people can come in and look for help with people that kind of look like them. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't really kind of want to go to therapists because most of the time they can't even really relate. So that's what we're here kind of just to really bridge that gap and allow people to come in and feel comfortable to tell their story.
Beautiful. And so I heard that you guys have an event coming up where you're specifically going to ask people to come out and actually basically break bread or drink tea, pretty much, and share themselves.
Yeah, so we're doing this thing. It's called like Buna time. It's a Ethiopian tradition. It's actually, I just learned yesterday that coffee means from the mouth. So it's like one of those things that they do where the community, they get together, they sit down, and that's where they talk about the problems and like things that are people are facing for them to kind of come and feel comfortable to share that. So it's like our own kind of therapy session, I guess you could say, but in a more casual setting.
So the casual setting is the whole sentiment of being able to get people to communicate. How did you come up with the idea of coffee? And coffee being in the news right now, there's a place in San Francisco for one cup of coffee is like $75. Have you guys heard about that?
No, that's crazy.
That's why they call me Cali Sportsman, because I keep up with everything. But anyway,
obviously.
But because, people are always looking for these grand ideas. How does coffee and what is bunny time? What does all that mean?
Really.
I mean, I honestly don't even think we could take credit for it because it's something that's been going on for, centuries. It's just something that we're kind of revamping and bringing here to kind of create how it could kind of fit in with our lifestyle and in our day and age.
So you're basically keeping culture alive.
Yeah,
ultimately.
trying to keep culture alive
Yes.
and bring it back. Again, Ethiopian coffee is probably one of the best coffee. And I'm not eating Ethiopian, so I'm not being biased, But
I'm not either, and I say I will agree with you. My
Yeah.
best friend is Ethiopian, and when I taste her coffee, I'm like, honey, yes.
Yes.
I love the way that they do it too, like how they burn the actual beans and everything
Yes.
like that. It's like
there's a
so
technique
much
to
more
it, huh?
authentic.
Yep.
I love that.
It's natural.
Also, I wanted to know, so as far as the mental health part, so are we actually getting real deep as far as like, for example, people think mental health is like, oh, I'm crazy or oh, I have some problem. I need to go see somebody when it's actually I'm fighting situations in my daily life. There's something going on in my head and I need to go and talk to somebody about this and I want to communicate with other people. So this is about the community. How is this?
Yeah,
Are we
no,
getting deep?
yeah, we're definitely getting deep, and it's really just about creating those safe spaces. We were talking about that earlier. It's kind of just one of those things that people want to talk about it, but nobody feels safe. Like people are always saying, like, I know, like, you have conversations with strangers and everything comes out, but when it comes to like people around you, and I think it's because like that whole judgment thing. But once we know, it's like, hey, like I feel you, like I go through the same thing. It's like, okay, wow, it's not just me.
Exactly.
So it's like. And then we're taking away from that, okay, I'm not crazy, because that's what a lot of what we've been taught is kind of like the crazy, but really
Yes,
it's just
yes.
life.
Yes,
Yes. I mean, just to kind of interact with this scenario, we're also dealing with African immigrants and people from different countries that kind of fall into the same scenarios as we traditionally know as Hispanics, but these are people that are African descent, but they're just from different parts of the world.
I agree.
And the interesting thing about Los Angeles is that there's really no hub for them. They live in a vast community of LA. So there's no Black Latin community. There's no Haitian, so I think that's kind of one of the challenges that me understanding the African Coalition to have is to be able to reach out to these pockets of communities to be able to let them know that there's a safe haven for them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think a lot of it too is creating that inclusion too, because it's like though it's an African coalition, we want to open it to all brown and black people. Like we all are really just one. It's just lines and names and colonization. We can go on, but it really we all are just one people. So it's kind of like really just again a safe haven, but not just for Africans, but really just brown and black too.
And that's what people don't really understand, that once you start talking to a person and getting to listen to them, that we're all related. No matter what part of the country you live in, we all got the same thoughts, the same life experiences. We just react to them based off of our belief system and principles and what we follow. And that's really for me is the connectedness part, is that relatedness. You don't have to understand me, but if you can relate to me, if you could use your imagination, and what would you do if you was in this situation? How would that be for you? Then that adds more conversation. But if I try to understand you, then it's like I'm not listening to half of what you're saying because I don't get it. But relate to me. And so I was sitting here thinking like that trust. Like you got people who sell insurance, all these things. Like you have to build trust with people. And how do you plan on establishing that? By having these events where people can come out and, like you say, they look like us, talk like us, and then relate to us.
Yeah.
And May is Mental Health Month. So
It is awareness.
So we're gonna take a break because we got a couple more guests coming up, right? Or you got another?
No, we could take a break unless you have something else to speak
we're
about.
going to take a quick break.
Wait,
but why don't you take us out?
Wait.
Oh.
She looked like she had some. Make sure you got everything you need to say for your part. Yeah.
I think, and then again, like, just to piggyback what you said, and it really is like we all have different experiences, different stories, and different sufferings and things we're going through. But at the end of the day, it's all really just like the same emotions. But
Those versions, it's the same. We have the same type of version of it. It's just
and
your
I
life
think
and my life.
Yeah, and it's very important for us. Just again, the brown black community, we got to come together as a unity, as a unit, because that's exactly what we're missing. We're the only ones that don't have that, and it's so important. Like very.
I was going
important.
to say that too. Just being genuine and like not having all these secrets, not being so secretive, like really letting it out and being able to relate, like everyone is saying. I definitely really think that's important.
Yes.
I actually have a Instagram called The Club of Gods, and it's like like-minded, God-liked people, and I'm like, yes, we all need to come together, and it's actually dedicated to real life support. It's like if you have an event going on, I want to promote your event on there so that we can say, hey, this event is genuine. This is where you need to be at. These people are going to have your back. And it's something else that I want to say. Most people say, I'm going to hold you down. Don't hold me down. And I'm not going to hold you down either. But you know what? I'm going to have your back. So I like this African Coalition movement. I'm just so about it. I'm like, yes, where can I sign up? I'll be at the next event. All of that.
Beautiful.
And I want to say thank you so much again for coming on.
Yeah, thank
like
you.
they said, we're going to take a little break, guys. Thank you again for tuning in. And we'll be right back with the next guest.
Awesome. Thank you.
The Consortium of Health and Military Performance, also known as CHAMP, of the Uniformed Services University of Health and Science, known as USUHS, is conducting a study to understand a possible genetic link between sickle cell trait, known as SCT, and exercise-related events, known as EREs, such as exertional rhabdomyolysis, muscle damage, heat stroke, and or collapse. We are inviting African American men and women with sickle cell trait and their family members to participate. Participating in the study will require you to complete a health history questionnaire, a form authorizing our study physician to gather health information from you and your healthcare provider, as well as a one-time blood donation. In order to qualify for the study, you must meet the following criteria: be African American, be sickle cell trait positive, be able to read, speak, and understand English, be between the ages of 18 and 80, and currently not being treated for any mental or psychological disorders. Participation is completely voluntary, and your decision will not impact your healthcare. The results for this study are for research purposes only and are not intended to directly benefit any individual for confidentiality reasons. However, the results of this study are intended to help better shape policies and associated health risks affecting the SCT community. Participants may be compensated for their time. To join the study, or if you would like additional information regarding the study, please contact the study team by phone, area code 240-479-9514, or email sctstudy-ggg@usuhs.edu.
AskAlia.com. Media marketing experts here to help you grow your business into the next level and boost your sales. Visit us to learn more. AskAlia.com.
See there?
He acting up.
Got an extra muscle.
All right, welcome back to Sports Collective TV. I'm your host and moderator, Farron, AKWDC. I'm going to pass it to my man, Ilya, Cali Sportsman's here. He's going to continue this mental health conversation around the African American Coalition. So, what you got?
Yeah,
first, Cali?
and again, this segment is sponsored by African Coalition. And, it's just we got to widen our net in regards to being able to kind of fix some of the smaller issues. I think a lot of things have to come back to fundamentals. And when you start talking about mental health issues and how we deal with it, it really goes back to fundamentals. Our moral compass is off, and I think that's a part of just being unbalanced, So it's good to have these organizations that are creating events that are organically to be able to get people to socialize, to communicate, to talk.
Well, I'm sure our guest up here is going to get more in depth of the moral compass, exactly what that means. So why don't you pass it?
So I'm going to pass it back to Ms. Outlaw so she can introduce the next guest.
Hey, guys. Yes, this is Outlaw. Ultimately, we have a beautiful guest, motivational speaker, an empowerment brother. I love that. King Q. Let people know a little bit about you.
Yeah, so my name is King Q. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California, Midtown to be exact. I always like to plug my
love. Arlington? What is that?
We La Brea, Washington. We over there with it. Yeah. Okay. So born and raised in L.A. I'm a speaker. I'm an empowerment speaker. I'm a youth advocate. And I'm a host. I do a multitude of different things. Event producer, spoken word artist. Got to plug that as well. So I got my hand on a lot of different things.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah. You sound just like me. Like we mirror each other. But you're just a
But I think
male.
that's one of those questions for him. It's like when you mention all these menus of things, where do you get that mental toughness? This one was really his question, but I got to ask that because that's a lot of menu, a lot of responsibility. Yeah. Where do you get all that mental toughness?
For me, it's been learned throughout trial and error, to be honest. And what I've learned throughout my journey is that a lot of people have a tendency of running away from the things that teach them the most lessons. So for me, about 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, I made a decision, and I said I don't want to do anything that's not in alignment with my purpose. And during that process, you start to realize that in order to reach purpose, you have to go through trial. So for me, I just learned to embrace the trial. And for me, my trial, my rock bottom was homelessness. And so I was homeless all of 2018. in half of 2017.
Wow.
And so for me, I embraced that, knowing that it was intentional, knowing that it was a part of God's plan for me. So that gave me a whole nother level of mental toughness. Like I had a little toughness, but embracing that and just seeing how God works on people who intentionally walk in purpose and address them. I don't want to get too, too funky with it.
Oh no, we about to get funky with it.
Just that a lot of my mental toughness came from me just embracing trial and error.
And it's good you say that, because same thing.
Yeah.
Military, 24 years, depressed, 3-4 years of it coming out of my retirement.
Right.
And then I found my voice in another community that I had no idea existed, about sickle cell trait. Right. And so all of that military experience, now I use that same energy, those same processes to advocate for this community of people.
Nice.
And what people really don't understand, or you may not even think about it, is that your voice is in so many conversations. I could not bring up sickle cell and talk about arthritis.
There you go.
I cannot bring up arthritis and talk about mental health.
Yeah.
There's so much that we can talk. Being a black father, people don't understand that you have so much voice, but the subconscious mind, you're not worth it.
Powerful.
You're not good enough.
Yep.
You can't do that. Why even bother? And I still manage that, but I discovered that was my biggest enemy that I had to battle. And then when you find your voice, you find that you can sit and talk to anybody, because again, you relate to folks.
Facts.
You look in your life for your version of that
Facts.
story,
Yes.
and then if you can't get it, then okay, hey, I have no idea what you're dealing with.
That's right.
And be open with that.
Exactly.
It's like, I get you, man. So that's why you can wear so many hats, because it's part of your life experience.
There you go.
And that's how that's how it works out.
I mean, 1981, my grandmother, Mary Ann Wright Foundation, start feeding the homeless, what we call the homeless. And I think when we were talking about just last week, where you have the guys are coming out of the prisons and they're reforming. So you as a young man, we know 1 out of 8 or 1 out of 7 college kids is homeless here in LA County.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like homelessness, what I knew when it was just giving you food, right? But you talking about going through living day of a mental side of it that we don't really talk about. So the need assessment is not always the food and the shelter and these type of things. And this is why it's important for, you can explain more why it's important for this event and this opportunity.
Especially your age group.
Yeah, for sure. And touching on that, I can relate to that so much, because for me, it wasn't so much going throughout days. Obviously you have days to where the money ain't rolling in and you don't really know how you're going to eat. But it wasn't so much that. It was more so the mental stuff. It was severe anxiety. Like to have to wake up and go through a whole 24-hour period, and that whole day you have to try to figure out where it is you're going to sleep tonight, where it is you're going to take a shower at tonight, where are you going to eat, how are you going to eat. You know what I'm saying? So you're going through life playing defense, and you have to try to put a mask on a lot of times around people who are not used to seeing you in this element. So that alone is stressful when you have to. It's the
pride itself.
It's the pride. It's ego. It's I got family members I could call, but I ain't about to call them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot.
They may not have your back, so it's like you still have to fend for yourself.
Exactly.
So that's a piece where there's a lost society.
But he's talking about. But what he's saying is, everybody who's dealing with some kind of anxiety is that because he's talking about the future of uncertainty. He's waking up like, where am I going to get this? He's so far in that's where mine came from.
Yeah.
I was so far in the future that my life was over. Today I was done.
Right.
But that's what, even we're advocating with veterans when we go down to downtown.
Right.
I know where my family's at. I don't want to call them. I know where my daughter is. I don't want to call her. Like that pride, that ego, but that future of uncertainty, man, I think is the biggest part of the human, because we make up so much stuff with that brain.
You know what? I feel like also we try to know stuff so much, try to have everything in line, when sometimes you don't have to have everything in line.
Nope.
It's like this. It doesn't matter about the path and how you get in there. It's actually the objective, the end objective. It's like, what do you want to do at the end of this situation? So, for example, I was homeless.
Yeah.
I actually made myself homeless because I needed to go get this money. So it's like, okay, I know I don't have nowhere to stay. I know that. But I have to go to this place because I got to go to work in this place. And this is not even far, literally up in Northern California. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Northern California because there's money to be made there. And I don't have a place to stay. So I literally was like under the bridge with some other homeless people. Literally. Didn't know. When I got there, I ended up calling a shelter. They said, okay, you can come here. You don't have to have go through all this situation to come here. You can come here now. I said, okay, I'm going to come there. They didn't have enough beds, so I'm sitting around other people who were homeless. And they're looking at me and I'm like, what? We all in this together. You know what I'm saying? I have a different story on why I'm here, but I'm still here. And I feel like most people are trying to know everything, and it stops them from getting places that they can go. It's like, how about you just go in and let God just put a bridge to the other lane? You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I love you so much. Jesus Christ. I tell people that all the time. And it's kind of equivalent to like, you know, I have a brother who's like super, super scared of water. And I remember when we were young, everybody just jump in the water. Everybody just jump in. You know what I'm saying? We don't care if it's cold. We don't care if it's hot. We don't care if it's warm. My brother would be the one that's always tapping his foot in the water to see if it's cool enough to be. And it's like, you don't have to be that strategic to swim. You know what I mean? So for me, my life is designed, and I view life exactly like that. I don't have to have this thing figured out. I don't have to have a structure. I'm about to do this workshop, and I'm a because it's on my heart. I'm gonna do it, and I'll learn as I go.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are afraid to do that because they're scared of failure. It's
And
as simple as that.
I agree.
But
and they don't
you
want
know,
accountability
I mean,
as well. They don't
even
want to
as
say,
a-
I did this, I failed, and this. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you just had this conversation with me. I mean, I'm you know, taking over my own business. You build this anxiety, you know, of, you know, making
you think
sure
it should
everything gonna fit, looking for the conclusion.
You just gotta put it up.
Killing you.
80% of success is showing up.
Because you are an
Just gotta show
achiever
up.
or an overachiever or what is considered an overachiever. But what it is basically you taking on, you know, more than you really can handle.
But before we take this break, again, this is not at adulthood, though. This is at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, where we make these decisions about ourselves, about surviving those moments, those abandonment issues that we thought was abandonment, but it wasn't. It was a latchkey kid. You just you had to be at home by yourself. But the power of the brain in those young adults, kids, I hate to say kids, youth, 8, that are making up these things because the parents are communicating. Hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
The cars broke down because of this, right?
Yeah.
Not because I don't know why, and now I got to have a whole bunch of cars. I'm going to make sure when I grow up, I don't have a broken down
Good car, exactly.
But then you collect 5 cars
Exactly.
and don't understand why.
I love it.
Because of the decisions you make at
Yes.
such a young age. But now
Psychological.
as adults, we're playing it out as our adults.
Yeah.
All the stuff that we made up is now our actions.
So life, in other words, is not so much about learning. When you really think about it, it's about unlearning.
Exactly.
You know, and when I think of it like that, I'm like, wow. You know, I put it to a person like this before. If somebody gave you some poison and you know you drank some poison, what would you immediately do? You immediately try to get it out.
Yeah.
You'll immediately try to spit it out. You'll immediately try to get your stomach sucked. Whatever you have to do to get it out of you.
Yeah.
And a lot of the limiting beliefs that we've learned when we were young is poison.
Belief
How we view
systems.
money, relationships, love, acceptance, self-esteem, all of that was
all
taught to us by our
corrupted.
parents,
It's all corrupted.
community, friends, and stuff like that. And if I could just touch on something real quick,
Go
I
ahead.
just want to make
Yes,
sure I
please.
touch on it before I leave. In regards to the African Coalition, what drew me to them initially was their involvement with the youth, black youth in particular, from being honest with you. So for me, I'm extremely passionate about us. And why? Because I feel like we don't have enough representation as young black boys in middle school and in high school. Well, I remember when I was in middle school, high school, we didn't have nobody coming up to our schools really connecting with us. It was just more so if you have a public speaker coming out, he going to either talk about college, sign up for the military. And when you really understand the struggles that these young black and brown boys are going through at home, you realize why they tune stuff out like that. I have real life stuff going on at home. I got family that's in jail. I got parents that's on drugs. I'm not trying to hear about going to college.
I don't even see that pretty much.
Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a whole nother language to me.
Yeah.
You know, so with the African Coalition, I'm putting together workshops right now, and I'm actually about to go on tour with this workshop. It's called the Get Uncomfortable Workshop. The name of my tour is going to be called the Comfortably Uncomfortable Tour. Clever, right? But in regards to the African Coalition, I take this workshop and I go out to different middle schools, and we touch on 2 different things primarily: storytelling and public speaking. 2 things that they're going to have to do or address at some point in their life, no matter
Sales and marketing.
period. You're going to have to know that no matter which road you want to take in life.
Yes,
And I'm telling y'all, the amount of vulnerability, the process that these kids go through from the first 10 minutes down to the last 10 minutes. So it starts off real hectic and chaotic. Obviously, these are middle schoolers in the inner city. You're trying to calm a lot of kids down. It's a lot going on.
them feel comfortable,
At
of
the
course.
end of my workshop, I have kids in here hugging and crying, telling each other they love each other. So it's powerful to be able to see how those 2 things just, you know, you can dive into it on a surface level, or you can dive into it on a personal level and really talking to kids about why are you so nervous to speak in front of people? Like what is the root of that? Oh, it's judgment. Oh, you're so afraid to be judged by your peers that it makes you shake when you speak, right? And so let's talk about that. And then that's in alignment with self-esteem and bullying.
And then you have to say, why are you so mean?
Like,
exactly.
I was 5, and the teacher said spell cat, and I said K-A-T, and everybody laughed.
Yep.
I will never raise my hand again.
Never spell nothing.
Not even that. I would never raise my hand again.
Period.
And that's that emotion, that body sensation. When you get that body sensation, it's a wrap.
You shut down as a kid.
And now you got 50-year-olds who won't even speak up because, or you become a know-it-all.
Yep.
And now you got answers for everything.
That's facts.
Because now I got to be smart.
Yes, I do.
Or I want to be dumb, so I got to be smart, and it all comes out. We got one more guest. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Give me your handles.
King Q.
Absolutely. So you can follow me on Instagram at @IamKingQ_. @IamKingQ_. And that's about it right now. Everything that you need to know about me is on my Instagram page.
Cool deal. All right, we got one more guest. We're going to take this quick break, and we'll be right back. Up after that is the Chasing the Hoop Dream segment, so don't go nowhere.
AskIlya.com. Media marketing experts here to help you grow your business into the next level and boost your sales. Visit us to learn more. AskIlya.com.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh, man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. You know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait. There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org.
Bring it on.
Wow, am I frozen? Welcome back to Sports Collective TV. I don't know what's going on with the cameras, but yeah, we here. So we're going to continue this conversation around the Mental Health Coalition and African American Coalition, that is.
African Coalition.
Yeah.
Hey guys, so we are back. This is your favorite host, Outlaw, and we have a youth advocate here. And ultimately, say your name. Who are you first? Introduce yourself.
How you guys doing? What you call it? My name is Jacob Jackson. I usually go by Black though.
Black.
You know? So I prefer that.
Okay.
What you call it? I met them through at my school.
Mm-hmm.
I work at a Youth Justice Coalition. I'm also a LOBOS, which is also an acronym for Leading Our Brothers and Sisters Out the System.
Oh,
and so, you know, they came to my school and they came to align with some youth there, you know, to become a part of their Black empowerment and to talk about mental health. And when I heard about it, you know, I was really intrigued. So, you know, I'm just here for today just to talk about it too. So,
can I ask a question?
Please.
You said at risk. Now, how can I ask how old are you?
I'm 17.
So this coalition deals with ages as young as 17, right? So when you hear the word at risk youth, what does that mean to you?
Well, what does it mean to me? Really, it I know this one. Hold on. What it means is like,
baby, take your time.
All right, like you know, just youth that are just, you know, who are in bad situations, who doesn't have mentors, who doesn't have mentors, who doesn't have people that they can rely on. And with that, I can say, like, you know, I've had experience with that too, because, you know, I used to go to a school called Crenshaw High School, and you know, when I went there, you know, you hear all them bad rumors about how bad it's gonna be with the woo. And you know, when I went there, I wasn't really scared of that and all that. I was just going there just with the mindset of doing my work and just getting out of there. But you know, just after a while being there, you know, I got in a little trouble, and you know, I didn't have the right mentors. I was always around bad things. But as soon as I left, you know, and I found Youth Justice Coalition that I'm at right now, it's like, you know, they're putting me on the right track. They're getting me into better organizations with these people too.
Go ahead.
You know, and I'm just saying, you know, I work there, and I do, like, I'm also like a board of director too. I look over a budget now, you know, and I talk, and I'm a spokesman like that too. And you know, it's just more onto it. And I used to know I have mental health problems too. Like, you know, I feel like I couldn't get through a lot of things. And when I was younger, I used to be bullied. And the reason why I'm black, why my name is Black now, is because this lady, this female who was a
teacher?
No, she was transsexual. Right. She was transsexual, but she was always with the boys and all that. And she was just calling me Black. And, you know, I was like,
way?
Yeah, in a negative way. And I was like, I didn't like that. But she kept calling me it. And after a while, just like, it groomed on me. And like, so when I came to high school, I was like, you know what, I'm Black. You know, it's no matter what. Like, my mom used to always tell me, like, you know, embrace your color.
Yeah.
And the thing about it was, it's like, she told me, like, I always had depression, and I was going to commit suicide at times. And I've never known this. Like, I don't remember these things, but it's like,
this transgender told you this?
No, my mom told me this. And you feel me? And it's like, now that I think about it, it's like, you know, I did have my mental issues. I just didn't talk about it with nobody besides my mom. And it's like, and I understand where we're all coming from with this program, and it's here to help us. And, you know, it's here to teach us about, it's not all a bad thing if you have somebody to help you in the right way. So
I do. I like that. I like that you embraced your Blackness, and I like that you took something negative and made it into positive. It's so funny. My last name's Outlaw.
Outlaw?
And when I was growing up, I was like, oh, why I got to be the outlaw? Like, why I got to be the one that's all different and, you know what I'm saying, feeling this kind of way. So I did have mental issues when I was younger as well. And then when I got older, I was like, you know what? I'm an outlaw. I'm going to make my own path. I'm going to do my thing the way that I do it. So I was speaking earlier about going to college after elementary school. So I never talk about this because people, oh, you didn't go to high school? Yo, you missed out on prom? Like, they always made it like a negative thing. And so I just was, like, not talking about it. Like, you know what? I didn't go to... y'all went to college. Well, y'all went to high school. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. But I went there and I got a degree in business finance. So you always hear, like, oh, Black people don't go to college or we don't go to school. We too dumb, this, that, and the other. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this. And then after I tried it, I still couldn't even share it with nobody because they still made it like it was a negative.
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying? So it was like I didn't have a place to actually go put my feelings in. So I feel what you're saying and I like what you're doing. And I want to know... I can obviously see how you inspire people, but in your day-to-day basis, I want to know, how do you go out and inspire children? Do you actually do like how King Q does and you do on tours?
I'm actually getting into this starting right now. But
the workshop, right?
Into these workshops. Well, right now I'm going to be doing one probably tomorrow at my school. I'm going to probably do like 2 classes, and we're going to talk about, you know, mental health, and I'm going to talk about my mental health too. It's like, you know, as a storyteller, and to tell them, like, it's not all categorized bad, because if your parents tell you, you know, oh yeah, no, you're just crazy or something like that, you're just depression. No, we got to put you in a mental hospital. It's like, that's wrong. And I know a mother who did that because she had to, because she didn't know what else to do. And it's like, if you don't have nobody else to turn to, how can you cope with that? How can you live on and just be in that situation all day?
But that's really inspiring, because you're basically taking your peers and giving them a voice and being that megaphone, that African coalition, so that they can be the bigger voice of reason, whatever the scenarios is. And I think by example, it's just phenomenal. I mean, you know, really don't even think about youth with these type of scenarios. And, you always say it goes back to childhood, but we always think of it as adults. So it's just good to see that we've seen this other part of an organization that's out here, African Coalition, is going into the community and working with youth that may have some issues that adults may even have.
Exactly.
And that's beautiful. That is beautiful. I look at you as a strong brother. You know what I'm saying? Mental illness or not, you are strong as hell. Excuse me, I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah. My last question for you is, how did you develop that trust for that mentor? How did you... People describe their walls, or how did you open up to that person?
Yeah, what made you?
Let's see. So like I said, you feel me? After a while, it's just like when I went to school. You feel me? The school that I really do go to and all that. It changes me. So it's like she told me. Let me say this. There's the lady who I work for. She doesn't like to be called boss, but I'll be just calling her my boss because I don't know what else to call her. So anyway, so she told me you always hide your character. You always made up a fake character, a persona just to always play, not your real self. And I was just like, dang, you feel me? Like I really looked over myself, and it was just like once she told me that, I'm like, man, I'm over here trying to play somebody. I'm trying to play every day, but when I want to show my real self, I want to tell these real things. I'm over here hiding all this. So after a while, it's just like, once I gain your trust, I gain your trust. And me, it's just like, I'm friendly to everybody. So I'm black. What's the deal? How you doing? Nice meeting you, mama. How you doing, sister? You feel me, brother? That right on. That's it. I'm always humble, and I'm not always outbursting, but I'm gonna tell you the right thing. I'm gonna tell you the right way. Like when I was at Q's little intervention that he's going on tour with, I was at it on a couple of weeks ago, and I went there to go get my ideals based off of him. So. And one time I'm young, so like a kid, he was like, I can resonate more with. And the kid, he came up to me, like a couple of kids came up to me after. I'm just sitting in the crowd. I didn't say nothing, and I'm just turning up to one of my guys' side got on the rap on, and they just came up to me and they was like, oh, why are you here? What do you do? And I explained to them why this and this, and he's talking about gang stuff and that, and I'm like, man, you got to be careful, because he said, I just claimed this gang, and I'm like, oh, when you walk outside these buildings, you got to be real careful when you claim these gangs, because there's a lot of things happening that you don't know as young as you are. And I'm like, they don't have that mentor, and I'm just trying to, be in that place too, because
be the mentor you never had.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
I love that.
All right, man. Thank you for being a guest today too, as well. All right, so we got to move it on. Again, we want to thank you so far for listening in. We're gonna take it out. This quick commercial break. We got the Chasing the Hoop Dream segment coming up with the LABC and also P4E. So we'll be right back.
Media marketing experts here to help you grow your business into the next level and boost your sales. Visit us to learn more. AskElia.com.
The Consortium of Health and Military Performance, also known as CHAMP, of the Uniformed Services University of Health and Science, known as USUHS, is conducting a study to understand a possible genetic link between sickle cell trait, known as SCT, and exercise-related events, known as EREs, such as exertional rhabdomyolysis, muscle damage, heat stroke, and or collapse. We are inviting African American men and women with sickle cell trait and their family members to participate. Participating in the study will require you to complete a health history questionnaire, a form authorizing our study physician to gather health information from you and your healthcare provider, as well as a one-time blood donation. In order to qualify for the study, you must meet the following criteria: be African American, be sickle cell trait positive, be able to read, speak, and understand English, be between the ages of 18 and 80, and currently not being treated for any mental or psychological disorders. Participation is completely voluntary, and your decision will not impact your healthcare. The results for this study are for research purposes only and are not intended to directly benefit any individual for confidentiality reasons. However, the results of this study are intended to help better shape policies and associated health risks affecting the SCT community. Participants may be compensated for their time. To join the study, or if you would like additional information regarding the study, please contact the study team by phone, area code 240-479-9514, or email sctstudy-ggg@usuhs.edu.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh,
too,
man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I didn't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter had sickle cell trait. You know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Hey, welcome back to Sports Collective TV. Again, I'm your host and moderator, Farhan, aka WDC. If you missed the first segment, you got to check us out. After the show, we'll be posting the link on Sports Collective Media on Instagram and on our Facebook. The African Coalition was here talking about mental health. And definitely got some events coming up, so you want to definitely stay tuned and follow us for that information. All right, so this first part of this segment is brought to you by the LABC League. I got Tyreek on the line. Should be there. Tyreek, you there?
Yeah, how you doing? Hello?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. I can barely, yeah.
I got it. I can hear him.
You can hear him? Okay, go ahead.
So, huh? All right, can you hear us?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay. All right, we want to say welcome, man. You know, we do these segments called Chasing Hoop Dreams, and Chasing Hoop Dreams is really just about the story of basketball players and you know what they're going through, but also the fact that they have this extreme passion for a particular sport. And the stories have been phenomenal in regards to things that they've been through as a child, and then now as a young adults, you know, there's always this path of NBA. So, you know, with the LABC leagues and all these different leagues, it's giving these guys an opportunity to go play overseas. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, a typical kid story. Grew up playing high school basketball. Once I graduated high school, decided to go to college, realized I wasn't going to make it, and then I started coaching. I'm now the head coach at Grant High School here in the Valley, helping kids kind of find their path basketball-wise, along with academics, and help them make the right choices as they develop into young men.
You know, Tyreek, you said you at some point in your basketball experience, you decided it was not going to work out. Can you share just a little bit about how you dealt with that mentally? Like, what was the transition like?
Well, for me, the transition wasn't too difficult because I kind of knew where I wanted to go with it. You know, I knew coaching would be my thing, and that's where I would end up. What I would end up doing. I knew since I was a kid that I always had an acumen for the game and kind of knew where things would fall in line. So when I came to the realization that it was now becoming playing was now more of a hobby than a path to a job or the league or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
I knew coaching was going to be my future at some point, so it just started a lot earlier than I expected it to. So the transition was easy for me because I already knew what I wanted to do with it, you know, at some point in my life, and I was able to start that off a lot earlier, helping others kind of live the dream that I never had a chance to
Right, and that was kind of what I was going to lead into my next question was, you know, now that you're a coach, I mean, you're chasing hoop dreams, you realize it was more in the coaching, so you continue chasing that hoop dream for yourself, just in the coaching aspect, but now you get to look back at the generations behind you, and what do you share with them? What do you tell them as far as, you know, to encourage their hoop dream?
Well, I keep things in perspective for them, you know. Like you said earlier, everybody wants to be a pro, everybody wants to be Division One, everybody wants the big show. And, you know, helping them find where they fit in the grand scheme of things is key. You know, just because you end up becoming a Division II, Division III basketball player, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It actually,
right.
You know, there's a lot of rewarding experiences in Division II and Division III and NEIA. And, you know, just because you don't make the NBA doesn't mean you can't play overseas. There's 140 countries that have professional basketball.
Exactly.
So you can, if you really want it, you can find a job somewhere. It just depends if you're willing to go through the grind of being a professional athlete at whatever level you have the pleasure of doing it at.
Exactly.
And for me, it's just helping them find their day-to-day path and where they're going to end up. You know, at the end of the day, we're using basketball to get education. It's kind of a pathway to free education. However you can get it is how you get it. And then from there, they end up finding where they belong in society and everyday life. And a lot of them come back and, you know, they use basketball to get them where they ultimately wanted to go.
Definitely. And what can you say about the LABC League? I know you I catch you in the gym reffing sometimes or at the tables. So what do you want to say about the LABC League?
Well, the LABC League is, you know, since I've been a part of it, has been great. I've seen a lot of guys come through there and end up getting some good looks out of it. You know, it's high-level basketball, especially for, you know, for an adult league, for some highly competitive adult league. It's at the level of a semi-pro league at some point. So, you know, it's definitely a situation where guys who you may not know about come in and showcase their skills, and because there's such high-level basketball players that play in there and guys who walk in all the time, you know, that have influence in other arenas of basketball, it's a good opportunity to kind of get a look that you might never expect.
Definitely.
You know, I guess, you know, when you look at saying you're a coach for these adult leagues, you know, and dealing with the personalities and talent pool that you're dealing with, you know, I mean, what is the biggest challenge you have?
Well, it's figuring out how everybody fits in together. You know, everybody at that level of basketball, when you're talking about high-level adult league, so the team game kind of goes away.
Yeah.
And showing people how to become a team basketball player again, it's difficult. But you know, you got guys who are 30-point-a-game scorers in college who can't just let go of it, and they have to realize where they are now and what they need to do to get to where they want to go. Sometimes it's humbling. And usually the guys that do well are the guys who are very humble and just out there to compete. Those are the guys that usually succeed the most. So it's just managing personalities and, you know, making sure they understand that it's not where you used to be, it's where you are now, and what you need to do to get to where you want to be.
Hey, Tyreek, man, thank you, man, for taking time to call in, man, and represent the LABC League for us, man. We appreciate you.
Americas!
How old are these guys? I wanted to know.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for your time.
Oh, we'll find out. Okay. We got one live one right here.
Okay, beautiful.
All right, so this next segment is brought to you by P4E. Shouts out to Don for his Playing for Eternity League, which is our guest from his league, Adam. So introduce yourself, man.
Well, I mean, thank you for being here, of course. But my name is Adam Stanford. I'm gonna go ahead and say I've been moving around everywhere. So I'm born in California.
Okay.
I moved to Richmond, Kentucky, at the age of like 2. And I was out there in middle school, ended up moving back. So I ended up moving back to California, was in Ontario, and then found it funny for college. I was in North Carolina for a semester, then what state I ended up back in? I ended up back in Kentucky. Ended up back in Kentucky. From that, I went overseas. So I went to China, went to Denmark, and then after Denmark, back in Kentucky, back in California.
So what... Starting out as a little guy, you know, this basketball, where that inspiration,
it all started from my dad told me the story every time because you know we being from California, he used to tell me, like, son, when you were little and I come home from work, you used to always have my basketball stuff on. Knowing I'm 6'4", and my dad's 5'4", so around that time, you know, clothes was too big. But he used to always tell me, no matter what, he used to take me to the basketball court. And then him being one of, well, I guess I'm gonna say one of many stars at Altaloma for football, I was always around the sport aspect of everything.
Mm-hmm.
My auntie, my uncle, grandpa, uncle, like it never left. So then, of course, growing up like any other kid, you want to test out what sport you want to play. Basketball, football, track, baseball. It doesn't matter. He put me in a lot, and then my eyes got more attracted to football and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So playing that, we ended up moving to Richmond, Kentucky. Richmond, Kentucky, that's where Eastern Kentucky, so EKU, for most people that don't know, or right, let's say a couple like an hour away from UK. So Wildcats. Being there, it's funny to say, playing there, the team I was on, we never lost. So just imagine being a kid, never lost a game. You don't know how to act. You're always winning championships. So that road for me being a kid was always good. But then it got to the point to where you can skip ahead and I'll get to age 10. So of course every kid wants to NFL, NBA, MLB. But then my dad used to always tell me, like, yo, there's more allergy, like there's more ways to go. Like, you know, it's not just the NBA.
Yeah.
He used to tell me, like, hey, watch the D League or watch different professional leagues. It's not just that. Same with NFL. When I was a kid, they had arena. Yeah, they had arena football. They had arena football and other things like that. So he used to take me to the games. Like, it's not always about the NFL. Like, not everybody's going to make it there.
And I like arena football with the short field and you know, and what was it? Warner, was it Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner. Yep.
That's how he threw those guns. He just knew those slots. It's a great sport.
So that's what I thank my dad a lot, because he wasn't the type of guy that always say NBA. He kept it realistic with me. Look, you have more options. So at the age of 10, I started following, watching things, and then I always heard about overseas. So I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, overseas, like, really?
What's that?
Yeah, I'm not knowing what's going on. I'm used to winning. I'm just lost. I'm lost in the sauce, as we call it nowadays.
Yes.
So then, as years go on, we get to middle school, still in Kentucky. We end up winning. We still winning, but then it gets to that point to where when you're in high school, you start noticing your friends and also yourself start venturing left, right, some going back, some going forward. And I was lucky enough, and then it was also a shocker to me, and then also people in Kentucky when my dad said, we're moving back to California. Because I'm not knowing what's going on. I'm like, I'm already adapted here. I got friends here. Wow, like, why am I going back?
Did you resist that? It was a transition?
It was hard, because it's funny to say, and I always say this and people laugh about it because I keep a strong poker face, and I'll explain that later. But as you can see, most African-American black kids, I want to say male, mostly male, they always have, as I say, that Mother's Day, but not a Father's Day. Me, I was reverse. So I had the Father's Day and not the Mother's Day. You get what I mean? Like, I had a stepmom, and I love her, like, down to the bottom of the soul, but still, to this day, it's like, okay, I have a Father's Day, I don't have a Mother's Day. So I think that's what mainly was more rough and hard on me, because when I see some of my friends, they don't have a father, they got a mother. But then, as you know, most grown black men, they're attracted to that. They'll help that out. They'll do whatever they got to do. Now, if it's flipped, it's like...
So how was that for you? Because obviously, again...
It was real rough for me. Like, really, really rough for me making that transaction. Because you got to think about it. I'm going to a place where I'm born from, but I wasn't raised at. But then not even that. As a kid, you're leaving friends. You're leaving everything. You're basically starting from scratch. It was also hard for my dad because I'm in 8th grade. I'm still scrawny. I'm short and whatnot. So I somewhat having to take sort of a load for him. But then, being the father, he had to take more of it. So I always know and always see, and I can see to this day, it was hard on him making that transaction. But me growing up, I feel like I know it was the best for me.
I don't want to step over that Mother's Day because it just passed. Like, so, I mean,
it was hard for me because even even coming from that now, like, I'm cool with talking about it now.
Mhm.
When I was a kid, I didn't like talking about it. But I'm cool with talking about it because of everything that I've done. Like, when it passed, my mother, my dad, not together. Of course, she lives in the Moreno Valley. But then I'm like, okay, she knows how busy I am, and I'll explain that. But yeah, so Mother's Day for me, sorry to say, it hurt, but it was just a regular day for me.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, yeah, my dad got married to another woman, but like, it's still.
It wasn't your mom.
Yeah, like, it's still a regular day.
I guess the question I would have is there still a connection with you and your mom, or and to the point where maybe she's trying to reach out to you in a way?
She tries to reach out. I mean, then again, I'm the type of person where, yeah, I'm full, like, you can reach out, but at the same point in time, it's always going to be a burden on my back I'm 24.
The childhood experiences.
It's all that time that passed. It's like,
time.
where was you at? What was you doing?
Yeah, so I mean,
needed you.
It hurts, but at the same point in time, I understand because her story is like
long.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
I can't really speak bad.
Yeah, no.
But you're stronger now. She made you stronger.
I'm real strong with it now. For when I see her, I can like tell her how I really felt. Knowing, you know, most black young men, you can't tell your mom how you really felt.
Yeah.
You can't, because something might happen. You don't know what's going to happen.
So when your dad, obviously, you said instilled in you all the different options as a young athlete to venture off to try to go make attempts to. When you hear Chasing Hoop Dreams, what does that mean to you today?
Me, it means. I mean, I got wear the hoodie called One Mission. It's something that you always want to be focused on. No matter what that dream, it doesn't just have to be basketball. It can be any other sport, or not just a sport. It can be a business. But it's just something that drives you, that pushes you to what you want to get to. And like, you don't want nothing to stop you to get there, of course, because in this world right now, if you got something to stop you, then that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dad always told me, you can either be the lion or you can be the sheep in the herd.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the sheep in the herd with everybody else, because then you're not getting nowhere.
So Don and I chit-chat a little bit about you. Pretty much you did all this on your own, no agent.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
so you took
one.
off overseas, no agent, and just found your own way.
Found my own way. And surprisingly, it started in college. And this is a big shock, and I think this is the reason why a lot of, like, I'll say young kids in high school, even middle school, they come up to me because they feel 100% confident, because I'll tell them how it is. But what's a big shock, and I think, you know, when I told Don this, when I was in college, I wasn't on a full ride scholarship. I did 3 years, no full ride scholarship, 2 conference championship. We won 2 in a row, still no scholarship. But I went from the bottom all the way up. Then it got to the point of me playing so hard that different coaches and players and teams were like, "Hey, he's on scholarship." like even my own teammates that coach and recruit, he would say, "Oh yeah, I'm on scholarship." They would tell people that, and I'm looking at them like, "Nah, man, I'm a walk on. I'm still paying student loans. I'm still doing this. I'm still doing that." And then they're looking at me like, "Hold on, you just had a good game and you're playing hard. Like, why are you still playing hard? Like, you're a walk on. Why are you still doing this?" And I'm looking at them like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I can be a walk on. You can be a scholarship guy, but I'll let you know this right now. When it gets on that court, all that goes out the window.
See, that's the bigger part of the dream, because he's a walk-on with no scholarship and committed.
Of course.
That work ethic is beautiful.
So Drew, we got pictures up here. Drew League.
Yeah, I done a lot.
Yeah, I posted that today.
Wait. What is this?
Yeah,
fatality. What is this?
Yeah, as you can see, it shot my basketball shot up quickly after getting back from Denmark. That was the event with Venice Beach, and Kyle Kuzma. He invited Venice Beach, and they invited some of us down. And everybody likes to try me for the dunk on. Basically, if you block me, you get money in your pocket.
Right.
And so everybody takes that chance because they look at me. You see the scrawny guy. He's only 6'4", but I tell people you're not gonna win this battle. And I'm real humble. And some people say, Adam, you meet all these people. You don't need to be humble. I'm like, hey, that's how I was raised. Like, that's how it was. Like, I'm sorry. But I tell people, like, I'm 6'4". I got the same wingspan as somebody at 6'6", and I got a 40-inch vert. So you battling me, I'm like, you're going to lose. I'm telling you this now, but if you want to get hyped up, then hey, that's on you. Like, I have nothing to say from that. But yeah, basketball shot up quickly, but I always tell people, and this is why I think kids come up to me a lot and they're always shocked. Even though I didn't have a scholarship, my whole thing, and I always tell kids, even when I coach, like I coach them in San Bernardino sometimes when I can, is get your education. Mm-hmm. So I left Kentucky Western College, which I love that place, like down, like really hard. I left there with a BA degree, graphic design, double major, art, minor communications. But then after that, I'm thinking like, okay, it's done. But then they end up telling me I have a year of eligibility. I go to another college, get my master's degree. At the age of 23, I'm 24 now, play overseas. Did all this, no agent. Get back, and now I'm meeting guys like Swaggy P, Trey Young, Kyle Kuzma, Kansas Parker, and the list goes on. The list goes on. But I always tell kids, like, look, man, education first.
How is it playing in the P4E?
I love it. I love playing the P4E. Everybody I see, I know, it's always competitive. Talking to Don. Don makes sure that everybody, is doing what they need to do. Nobody's lollygagging. Everybody's getting a job done. So I love it.
Spirituality?
Christian.
So it fits right in, like
everything fits right in. Fits in perfectly.
Cool deal.
Yeah, shout outs to Don, man. That's my dude, and he's bringing some great talent in here with some great stories.
Definitely. And we'd like to have you back, man. We'll figure out where you. I know something's next. What's next?
What's next? Surprisingly, if you found me on Facebook, or if you already have me, I guess like 3 or 4 days ago, and as you can see, I was following up on my telephone a lot, my phone over there a lot. But I've been into the TBL draft, which is the Thailand Basketball League draft. So yeah, that's the draft starts Thursday. My chances of it, I'm always honest. My chances of it, we'll see what happens. Because of course, again, I'm going in there, no agent. Everybody has one. Wow. They told me that they put me in it, so hey, we're going to see what happens. I'll tell everybody.
Yeah, good shout out. Yes. Good luck to that.
All right, we want to thank everybody for listening in. Great show today. Again, Sports Selective TV right here on Morse Media, 5 o'clock Pacific time. Ms. Outlaw, thank you.
Yes,
for your commentary and for being a part of the show today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And you too, man. Thanks.
Thank you.
Much success to you.
Indeed.
Shout us out, Fredo, man. Thank you. Shout us out. What's the count?
This segment was sponsored by P4E. Visit playingforeternity.com for more info and listen to their Selective Games live broadcast on Sports Collective Radio.
Here he is looking at the season. The Giants win 12-7.